Hey guys, May is over, and how did I finish out the month? Hey guys, if you're new here, welcome to the Book Path. I'm Nicole, and if this isn't your first rodeo, thank you guys for sticking around. I apologize for the lighting. It's a little weird in here. It's making me have like some really dark circles today. Not that that's any different from any other day, but we're just gonna try to make do with what is. It's really overcast. We're supposed to be getting a storm sometime soon. But with that being said, have a few things to talk about today. There's a few changes. Well, there's one change to June's TBR that I will mention at the end of this video. But basically, what did I finish for May? I basically ended up reading one book prior to the Memorial Day weekend, which for me was between the 26th and like the 30th, 31st, 26th and the 29th, 30th. For that weekend, I was taking part in the 72-hour Smut Den hosted by Mel over at Melanie Reads, along with like Cass over at Covers with Cassidy and a few other people. And then I was also doing Final Book Support Group, which is hosted by Steph over at Steph Loves, and I've done that a few times. If you want more info, you can check out my May TBR video. I have all the links for that in there. But I didn't have a lot of time to really take on a huge book, so I decided to read go ahead and pick up The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This has been on my TBR for a long time. I saw it a while back and I just never got around to it. And then I started seeing it make the rounds on BookTube and everybody was picking it up and everybody was loving it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I've just got to get it. I've got to go and read it. And I'm so happy I did. I ended up rating it 5 stars. It's my first 5-star in a while. It was just really good. Basically, it's a kind of slow burn romance with enemies to lovers in a competition setting in a very dark fantasy world where vampires kind of reign supreme. Humans are kind of really treated like chattel. And you have this king who comes across Araya as a child, and he kind of takes her under his wing when most humans would be killed or like just not very taken care of, and he's the king of the vampires, and he kind of raises her as his daughter, and she grows up very protected by him, but also not really allowed to go out, and he starts training her how to fight to be able to protect herself against all the other vampires. And what he doesn't know is she'll go out from time to time and she'll sneak out and like kill vampires and try to protect humans. And her goal is there's this big competition that happens, and whoever wins the competition gets to ask whatever they wish of the goddess of night. And so her wish is to be bound to her father figure, the king of the vampires, as his daughter. And so she's going to go in as the only human in this huge thing of combatants from all over, because it's not just her empire or her kingdom. There's a few other kingdoms as well of vampires. So they're all taking place in this. And this is where she comes across Rain, who is a human turned vampire. And he's very rare because he's actually holding on to his humanity. And he's trying to convince her to team up with him and his friend to survive the competition. And she knows at any given point they're going to have to turn on each other, and they're going to have to kill each other because only one can win. So as the course of events unfold, there is some romance starting to blossom between her and Rain. Obviously, Rain is at odds with her father. She's starting to feel like her father's keeping secrets from her. So she's just kind of being pulled in all the directions. And I just really liked the relationship dynamics of this. I liked how Araya is getting pulled in all these different directions, and you see her really conflicted. And then I think that was probably my biggest thing, was the confliction. You see Araya having confliction, you have Rain that has conflictions because he has secrets of his own, and you also have the king, her father figure, having secrets of his own. And so this goes on about 80% of the book, and then there is a very steamy scene that seems to take place for like chapters, multiple. Like it was very detailed, very nice, very good. And then you have like the final moments of the competition, and it was just like boom, 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 with all these incidents that just made you be like, wait, what? And then I had to pause for a moment because I was like, this just didn't happen. This just didn't happen. Because stuff starts to happen so quickly at the end that you're still just like, wait a second, because you're so used to kind of the slow competition and it's starting to go and go. And then you just get in the last like 15% of the book is just so compact with so much like just action and stuff that happens that it just kind of takes you by storm. So it was really good. I know that there is a sequel to this that I cannot wait to read. And I also know that she has a few other books that are based in the same world, but I'm really curious because I think she might be added to my list of favorite writers right now. She might be up there with Scarlett St. Clair and Jennifer L. Armentrout and Katie Roberts there. She might be joining the ranks. So I did read that, and that wasn't really for any challenge. That was just for me to kind of have like a filler to get to the next part. So after that, my first book for the 72-hour Smut Den, that was also a continuation station for Final Book Support Group, was Star-Crossed by Elizabeth Briggs. This is the third book in the Zodiac Wolves, so I'm making headway. I will just have one more book and then it will be complete with the series. So I don't want to give too much away because this is the third book in the series, but you are still following the story of Kaden and Ayla. Ayla is the half-breed wolf where she's half wolf, half, you find out she's half wolf, half moon witch. And she was rejected by her mate and her pack gets killed off. She finds with the Orpheus, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like, they look like the Ouroboros icon, but it's like the snake pack. And she gets taken in by them, and Kaden is their pack alpha, and he kind of starts to fall for her. She starts to fall for him while she still has this mate bond with the other wolf that rejected her. So it was like this weird love triangle. Secrets got discovered, which made the triangle even weirder. And then we left off at a very pinnacle moment in one part. So this book, what I can say is that she starts to meet the other moon witches. She finally gets to meet the other moon witches, see what they're about, see why they're in hiding, and get kind of the truth of the story of what's really going on between the moon witches and the sun witches, and then go back to where she needs to be for, I think it's the big first epic showdown that you're going to see against the sun witches. It wasn't as good as the other books. I gave it 3 stars. It still was very spicy in scenes, so still gets the 5 on the spice scale. And I didn't say Serpent and the Wings of Night, 5 on the spice, because obviously it had that really long chapter. But for Star-Crossed, 5 out of 5 for spice, 3 out of 5 stars, because I just was kind of bored while she's in the moon kingdom, whatever it is. And then her and Kaden's relationship hits a few bumps, and you just start seeing Kaden go down a path that I just wasn't really a fan of. And then the big end scene just kind of felt like you could tell what was going to kind of happen. So it wasn't really surprising what starts to kind of happen. So it was just a little underwhelming in comparison to the other books in the series, but only one book left to go. I'm still going to continue with it. And hopefully, that will just be like the cream at the top, whatever. But then after that, I tried to read Blood and Ruin by Scarlett Gray. This was for, I think it was the prompt I spun to get flowers on the cover or something like that. I'm not counting it because I DNF'd it. About 80 pages in, it was a short read. I think it was only like 200 and something pages, 300 pages. I got to a chapter where one of the characters, basically the story is this fantasy world. There is this university for like shifters, and there's 3 different kind of stories that are kind of going together at this university, and each story is like a set of lovers. So you're getting 6 POVs, which was cool, but for 3 different storylines. And 2 of them were decent, like there wasn't anything bad, but third one was named Kakashi, and I was like, okay. And then they started calling him Kakashi Sensei, and he ran a 3-man squad, and one of them is missing, and they don't know if he left of his own accord, or if he got kidnapped, or if he's turned traitor. And there's one girl in the squad, and she kind of has the hots for the guy that's missing, and the other guy likes food. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like Naruto fan fiction. I'm literally reading a Sakura Kakashi fanfic in this book. And from that moment on, like the more and more I read, it was just like, yep, yep, yep. So I don't know if that was her intention, but once that came across, I just really could not get into it. It wasn't for me at that point. So I DNF'd it. And that was that. So the next book I ended up picking up was Slammed, which is a bad boy romance book by Tegan Cade and Beverly Bernard. This one I didn't get very far in either and ended up DNFing it just because the characters were so pushed to the limits, cliche, in like kind of an unbelievable way. And when you take the two characters, like you have the girl, the whole story is supposed to be he's the bad boy athlete. She's the kind of bookworm. She has to tutor him. She's the one girl not interested in him, and you know, all the romance and naughty bits ensue. But right off the bat, she's on a date. So clearly her focus is not only on her studies, which you normally see, which I'm like, okay, which, you know, that's different. But then they go to the basketball game and she's like seeing the bad boy and she's already like undressing him with her eyes and talking about how good he looks. And like she's already attracted to him. So if the whole premise of the book is she's supposed to not want to be with him and like not be attracted to him, well, it's kind of blown now. And then when they went to his side of the story, he's just so like he's kind of this cliched character where he's from the wrong side of tracks, grew up in foster care. Obviously that has a lot of trauma and drama with that. So he's very embittered about it, and he goes to therapy because that's the one requirement for him to get the scholarship to go into this prestigious school, which is supposed to maintain their image that he just doesn't fit, right? So already they have this like kind of cliched storyline. And then he just is snapping at his therapist because he's just snapping at everybody like you wouldn't understand me. And I'm like, and I get it to a point, like you have this, like there's supposed to be this trauma to your background, but it was just so pushed to the limits, language-wise, attitude-wise, that I couldn't root for him. I couldn't root for her. And if you destroyed both characters within the first, like, however many chapters of the book, this is a short book again. I think it was like only like 200 to 300 pages. I'm like, if I'm already reading this much in and I just really don't care about the characters, I don't care if they get together. I don't care how they get together. So it's not going to do anything for me. So I DNF'd that one and moved on. And so with that, I basically ended up finishing that. I am working on one book, but I haven't finished it yet. So I will probably just include it in my week 1 roundup for June. But that was basically it. So sadly, I didn't progress as much as I wanted to for the Smut Den and for Final Book Support Group. But the book that I did actually complete for the 3 days was one for each. It was a Smut Den read, and it was also a continuation station. So I will go ahead and count that. And with that, May is done. Basically, that brings me to what I wanted to talk about for June. So in June, I am participating in the Clear Your Shit Readathon. And one thing that I noticed after I had put everything together, filmed my video, I had a book on there which was for the death card, and that was to read a standalone. And I ended up picking up Spoiler Alert, and I didn't realize until afterwards that Spoiler Alert is actually the first in a series. I thought it was a standalone, and it kind of is. It's in one of those series where each book, it's like its own story, but it all kind of exists in the same world. So for me, that's a series. It said it was book 1. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to abide by the rules as best I can. So I decided to switch that out, and I am going to switch that out with Be Not Far From Me by Mindy McGinnis. I think I read a Mindy McGinnis not so far ago. I thought, was she the one that wrote One of Us is Lying? I know she wrote a YA kind of thriller book, and I think I read it and I enjoyed it. But this one is basically about a girl who goes out hiking in the mountains with her friends. They're going to do some partying. When she's partying, she catches her boyfriend with another girl and basically tries to run off. When she runs off, an accident happens. She has a nasty fall, wakes up in a ravine, and she's alone. She's off the trail. She's lost in the forest. So she has to basically survive, find help, and she is having an infection on some cuts in her legs. So she's getting sick as she's doing this. It's a very short read, but it sounded really interesting, and it is a standalone. So this will be taking the spot for the death card. Now at the end, I did have a little bit of a purchasing. I did end up going to the store and picking up The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I have been hearing wonderful things about this. This is a chonky romance book. It's a sports romance. I don't know much about it other than it's supposed to be fantastic. Lots of acclaim for this. So I ended up getting this one. And then because for June Literature Club book pick is Twisted Love, I ended up finding a copy of it. And I figured I'll just go ahead and read this. That's way I can tab it up and just continue with the series if I like it. So I did end up getting these two. And then I ended up through a app that I use, I ended up getting a gift card, and I used that to get something that has been on my list for forever, and that is books 1 through 4 of Jennifer L. Armentrout's From Blood and Ash series. These are not the special editions, but they are special to me because I love this series. This is like my favorite series right now. And so now I'm hoping that I can go. I think Etsy has some really beautiful insert pages. I'm going to try to get those. And then I will probably end up doing a reread of the first 2 books and then go forward and read the next 2 before book 5 comes out. And try to do like my own video on just this whole series and tabbing it and maybe finding where the insert pages are supposed to go. So once I get those insert pages, then we will go ahead and do that. But that will be a video idea for another time. So other than that, that was May for you. I hope you guys had some fun during May. Let me know what was your favorite read for the month. Let me know what you guys are going to be doing for June as the summer starts coming. You guys got vacation plans? What books are you taking with you on vacation? And just let me know how things are going. Wishing you guys the best, and stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.